97% of men over 50 miss the exact moment a woman begins to flirt with them. This does not happen because they are slow or out of touch, but because the signals are no longer what they were decades ago. She is not going to grab your arm and giggle like a teenager. She is not going to look at you and say, "I like you," or boldly invite you out for drinks. Instead, she will ask a question, a soft, casual question that sounds harmless on the surface, but quietly opens a door. If you do not step through that door, it closes just as quietly as it opened. That is how these moments slip away. You walk off thinking it was just a pleasant conversation. She walks away thinking that you are not interested. You did not say anything wrong, you simply did not say the right thing because you did not realize what she was truly asking. This is what this video is about. These moments and these quiet questions do not sound romantic at all, but they show up as sideways glances, offhand remarks, and curious little probes women use when they want to test the waters without diving in first. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 8 subtle questions women ask when they are interested but too careful or uncertain to say it directly. You will understand what she is really asking, why it matters, and how to answer in a way that shows you are still in the game. You are not chasing or desperate. You are just present, grounded, and fully yourself. Because here's the truth. After 50, most men do not need to try harder. They just need to notice more. Once you do, you will start to see interest where you once only saw politeness. You will notice warmth where you assumed there was just small talk, and real adult attraction where you once believed you were invisible. Let's talk about the first question. It sounds innocent, but it is one of the biggest tests she will ever put in front of you. How old are you really? It sounds playful and lighthearted, but when a woman looks you in the eye and asks that, adding that small word, really, she is not asking for a number. She is asking for something much deeper. She already knows you are not 30. She is not playing a guessing game for fun. What she is doing is checking how comfortable you are in your own skin. She wants to know if you carry your age like a heavy burden or like a quiet badge of honor. The way you respond tells her everything she needs to know. If you flinch, dodge the question, or turn it into a joke about getting old, she may smile or even laugh, but inside the energy shifts. What she is looking for is not youth. It is presence, confidence, and a sense that you are still fully alive in your own life without apologizing for the years you have lived. The men who stand out at this stage are not the ones trying to look younger. They are the ones who have made peace with their timeline. These are men who can say without hesitation, old enough to know what matters and young enough to still enjoy the ride, or even with a slow grin. Do you want my age or my attitude? I once spoke to a man named Rick. He was 64, divorced with silver hair and a sharp sense of style. He told me about a conversation he had at a jazz lounge. The woman was perhaps in her late 40s or early 50s, smart, elegant, and clearly engaged. After some easy back and forth, she leaned in and asked, "So, how old are you really?" Rick thought he was being clever and replied, "Too old for you?" She laughed, but not the way he hoped. He said he felt the spark dim almost immediately. Later that night, it hit him. He did not just dodge the question, he dodged the moment. That is what most men miss. These questions are not interviews, they are invitations. When you answer them with self-doubt or self-mockery, she hears that message clearly. Under the surface, what is really happening is simple. As we age, we carry more history, more scars, and more quiet fears about whether we are still seen. Women feel that energy, and when they ask something like this, They are curious about your aliveness. So the next time a woman asks how old you are, do not reach for a punchline. Do not treat it like a trap. Treat it like a door. If she is asking, she is already thinking maybe, and your answer decides whether that door stays open. Another question that catches many men off guard is, why aren't you married? At first, it can sound personal or even a little judgmental. But when a woman asks this with a gentle tone and genuine curiosity, it is not an interrogation. It is interest wrapped in caution. She is not digging into your past just to hear stories. What she is really asking is, are you emotionally available now? Is there room in your life for someone like me? This is where many good men stumble. Some launch into their entire romantic history, talking about divorce and heartbreak. Others get defensive and brush it off with a bitter laugh. Both responses do the same thing. They quietly close the window she just opened. She is not looking for a full explanation. She is listening to how you carry the answer and whether you are at peace with your past or still dragging it behind you like luggage you never unpacked. A better response is simple, steady, and honest without being heavy. You could say, life kept me busy, but I have space now for something real, or I just have not met the right woman yet, maybe until now. I remember a man named Gerald. He was 67, a quiet man who worked with his hands and had been widowed young. He told me about a woman he met at a community garden. They started talking about tomatoes. After a while, she smiled and asked him, "So, how come a man like you isn't married?" He froze. He gave a stiff answer about how things did not work out and quickly changed the subject. A week later, she stopped coming to the garden. Later, he said, "I didn't realize she was asking because she was thinking about us. I thought she was just being polite." That is the pattern. These moments do not announce themselves. They arrive quietly, disguised as casual questions that seem harmless until you understand them after she is gone. Psychologically, this is powerful. She is feeling something but does not want to risk being vulnerable unless you show her it is safe. If your answer sounds bitter or closed, she steps back. If it sounds calm, open, and warm, it tells her everything she needs to know. When someone asks why you are not married, do not give her a reason to regret asking. Give her a reason to wonder what could come next. Another question that often shows up is, do you date younger women? This question throws many men off balance. Some hear it as a compliment, while others treat it like a trap. But when a woman asks this, she is not asking about your dating record. She is quietly checking your openness. She is asking, could you see someone like me as more than just a friend? Most of the time, she is not looking for a simple yes or no. She is listening for whether you make her feel seen and respected rather than compared to some imaginary group of younger women. She wants to know if the connection happening right now matters more to you than a number on a calendar. Men mess this up by bragging about younger dates or by shutting it down and saying they are too old. Both responses miss the point because what she is really asking is, do I have a chance? A better answer keeps the focus on connection. Try something like, I don't date by age, I date by energy and how we connect. I knew a man named Marcus. He was 59 and met a woman at a bookstore. She was in her mid-40s and asked him for a recommendation. They talked and grabbed coffee. Then she leaned back and asked, "Do you usually date younger women?" He paused, smiled, and said, "I like women who bring good energy. Age doesn't matter much to me. What matters is that we click." She smiled with real interest, and that conversation led to dinner. That is the power of presence. When a woman asks this, it is often about permission. She wants to explore the possibility without putting herself too far out there. At this stage of life, attraction is not about clever lines. It is about responding with clarity and kindness. When she asks if you date younger women, that door is already cracked open. The real question is whether you step through it. This next one may sound casual, but when a woman asks, "What kind of woman do you usually go for?" she is not just being curious. She is comparing and checking to see if she fits the picture you carry in your mind. This is not about building a checklist. It is about seeing whether she has a chance to be that woman. The mistake many men make is taking the question too literally and listing physical traits. What they fail to understand is that she is watching very closely. She wants to know if you are stuck chasing an image or if you are open to a real connection. The better move is to speak about qualities that matter, qualities that could easily live inside the woman sitting across from you. Try saying, "I like women who are thoughtful, curious, and able to laugh even when the day is hard." Notice how those are things she can recognize in herself. If she is asking at all, there is a good chance she hopes she fits your answer. I once spoke with a man named Elliot, a retired firefighter. He met a woman through a volunteer project. One afternoon, she asked him, "So, what kind of woman do you usually go for?" Without overthinking it, he said, "I guess I like someone calm, someone who makes a place feel peaceful just by being there." She did not say anything right away, but later she stayed behind to help clean up and told him, "I was hoping I was your type." This question is a form of self-selection. She is gathering clues to decide whether she should lean in or pull back. So the next time you are asked this, do not describe a fantasy. Describe the kind of connection you want to build, because she is likely not asking as a friend. When a woman asks, "Are you always this charming?" it usually comes with a smile. It sounds like a compliment, but it carries weight. She is acknowledging the spark she feels and testing how you will handle it. This is a rare moment when attraction rises to the surface. What she is really asking is whether you can stay present without dropping the moment. Many men pull back here or make a joke and the spark fades. A better response stays light but grounded, like, "Only when I'm around someone who brings it out in me." This tells her you see her and you are not afraid of the moment. Alan, a 68-year-old widower, was once asked this at a party. He replied, "That depends. Are you always this curious, or am I just lucky?" She held his gaze longer after that. This question is about chemistry. Your role is simply to receive the moment without shrinking away. When a woman asks, "Why don't you have a girlfriend?" she is wondering if there is room in your life for someone like her. She is asking if you are emotionally available. Many men answer in ways that sound closed, saying they like their freedom or that relationships are too much trouble. That closes the door. The best answer leaves space for possibility. You might say, "I've been waiting for something that feels real," or "I'm still open to being surprised." William, who was 71, was asked this at an art gallery. He replied, "I spent time learning how to be a better man. Now I'm ready for a better kind of love." Her eyes never left his after that. Women are just as afraid of rejection as men, so they ask brave questions disguised as curiosity. Finally, there is the question, would you ever date someone like me? This is the closest thing to a confession. She is not fishing for praise, she is placing herself in front of you. Even if she smiles, there is vulnerability underneath. Many men freeze or change the subject here, and she pulls back feeling exposed. The best answer is not clever, it is honest. "I'd be lucky to" is a great way to respond. Charlie, a former military man, was asked this during a walk at sunset. He paused and said, "Yes, I already am in my mind." She took his hand and did not let go. These questions are not casual, they are openings. The real question is never what she asks, it is whether you choose to step forward when the moment arrives. Another important question that often comes up is, what do you do with all your free time? On the surface, it sounds like she is just making conversation about your hobbies, but she is actually looking for a glimpse into your lifestyle to see if you have a life that is full, active, and interesting. She wants to know if you are someone who sits on the couch waiting for life to happen, or if you are a man who still has passions and goals. When you answer, do not just list chores or say you don't do much. Instead, talk about the things that make you feel alive, whether it is working on a car, hiking, or learning something new. This shows her that you are a complete person who doesn't need a woman to be his only source of entertainment, which is very attractive. Then there is the question, do you still talk to your ex? This can feel like a trap, but it is usually a test of your character and emotional health. She is checking to see if you are still carrying around old anger or if you are still secretly attached to your past. If you speak with bitterness or go on a long rant about your ex-wife, she will see it as a red flag. On the other hand, if you can answer calmly and show that you have moved on and wish everyone well, she will feel much safer getting close to you. She is looking for peace, not drama. By staying neutral and respectful, you show her that the seat next to you is truly empty and ready for someone new. You might also hear her ask, what are you looking for at this stage of your life? This is a very direct door. She is tired of guessing games and wants to know if your goals line up with hers. Many men try to play it safe by saying they are just seeing what happens, but that often sounds like you aren't serious. A better way to handle this is to be clear about your values. You don't have to say you want to get married tomorrow, but you can say that you value deep connection and are looking for someone to share life's adventures with. This honesty is refreshing and shows her that you are a man who knows his own mind. Finally, keep an eye out for when she asks, "Is it always this easy to talk to you?" This is her way of telling you that she feels a special connection. She is pointing out the chemistry between you and waiting to see if you feel it too. This is not the time to be modest or change the subject. Acknowledge the feeling by saying something like, "It isn't always this easy, which is why I'm enjoying it so much." This confirms that the spark is mutual and encourages her to keep opening up. These questions are all small signals that the path is clear. All you have to do is pay attention, stay honest, and be brave enough to walk through the door she is holding open. One more question you might hear is, do you have any big plans for the future? When a woman asks this, she is not looking for a business plan or a travel schedule. She is checking to see if you are still looking forward or if you have stopped growing. She wants to know if you still have dreams, even small ones. Many men make the mistake of saying they are just taking it easy or waiting for retirement. This can make it sound like your life is already over. A better way to answer is to mention something you are excited about, like a project, a place you want to visit, or a skill you are learning. This shows her that you have energy and a future she might want to be part of. You might also be asked, what is your favorite memory? This sounds like a simple trip down memory lane, but it is actually a way for her to see what you value. Are your favorite memories about work, or are they about family, friends, and shared experiences? She is trying to see if you have a heart and what makes you happy. If you share a story that shows warmth or a sense of adventure, she begins to see the kind of man you are beneath the surface. It is a way for her to connect with your emotions without the conversation getting too heavy. Sometimes a woman will ask, "Do you ever get lonely?" This is a very vulnerable question for her to ask. She is likely feeling a bit of that herself and is checking to see if you are honest enough to admit it. If you act like a tough guy and say you never need anyone, you might accidentally push her away. If you answer by saying that you enjoy your own company but definitely miss having someone special to share things with, you create a bridge. It shows her that you are human and that there is a specific spot in your life that a woman could fill. Then there is the playful question, "Are you a good cook?" This is rarely about the food. It is a soft way of asking if you are self-sufficient and if you could ever host her for a meal. It is an invitation to talk about home life and intimacy. Even if you can only make one great dish, talk about it with pride. It signals that you are capable of taking care of yourself and eventually taking care of her. These small questions are the building blocks of something bigger. They are the ways she checks your heart, your home, and your head before she lets herself fall for you. Another subtle question you might hear is, "Do you think people can really change at our age?" This is a deep one. She is not asking for a science lesson. She is trying to find out if you are stuck in your ways or if you are still open to growing with someone else. She wants to know if you are flexible or if you are too rigid to make room for a new partner's needs. If you say people never change, she might think you will never adapt to her. A better way to answer is to say that while our core stays the same, we never stop learning and becoming better versions of ourselves. This tells her that you are a man who is still evolving, which makes the future feel exciting rather than fixed. You may also hear her ask, "What is the most adventurous thing you have ever done?" When she asks this, she is looking for the spark in your eyes. She wants to see if you still have a sense of wonder and if you are willing to take risks. She is wondering if a life with you will be full of new stories or if every day will look exactly the same. Even if your adventure happened years ago, telling it with passion shows her that the spirit of adventure is still alive inside you. It gives her a reason to think that being with you would be an exciting journey, not just a quiet routine. Sometimes she will ask, "What do your kids think of you dating?" Or, "Do you spend a lot of time with your family?" This is her way of checking your roots and your relationships. She wants to see if you are a man who is loved and respected by those who know you best. She is also trying to see how much space your family takes up and if there is a healthy balance. If you speak about your family with love and clear boundaries, it shows her that you are a stable man who knows how to maintain long-term connections. It gives her a sense of the community she would be entering if she stayed by your side. The last big question is often, what is one thing you would change about your life right now? This is a massive opening. She is giving you a chance to be honest about what is missing. If you say nothing, the conversation might hit a dead end. But if you say something like, "I have a great life, but I'd love to have someone to share the quiet moments with," you have just handed her the key. You are admitting that while you are fine on your own, a partner would make your life even better. This is the ultimate invitation. It tells her exactly where she fits in. All these questions are like breadcrumbs leading you toward a deeper connection. When you learn to hear the real question behind the words, you stop missing the moments and start building a real future. A woman might also ask you, "Do you ever wonder what else is out there?" This is not a question about travel or moving to a new city. She is testing your level of contentment and your curiosity about life. She wants to see if you are a man who has given up on new experiences or if you are still looking for more beauty and connection. If you answer that you are bored or tired, she will feel that heavy energy. But if you tell her that you are grateful for what you have while still being excited for new chapters, it shows her that your heart is wide open. It tells her that you are not just waiting for the clock to run out, but that you are actively looking for a reason to be inspired. Another subtle probe is when she asks, "What is your favorite way to spend a Sunday morning?" This sounds like a simple question about your routine, but it is actually a very intimate inquiry. She is trying to picture herself in your life. She is imagining the quiet, private moments and seeing if her energy matches yours. Are you someone who enjoys a quiet coffee and a book, or are you out the door for a long walk? There is no wrong answer, but there is a wrong way to say it. If you answer in a way that sounds lonely or empty, it pulls the mood down. If you describe your morning with peace and enjoyment, she begins to imagine what it would be like to sit across from you in that quiet sunlight. She may also ask, "What is the best piece of advice you ever received?" This is her way of looking at your wisdom. She wants to know what values guide your life and who influenced you to become the man you are today. It is a way for her to see if you have depth and if you are a man who listens and learns. When you share a piece of wisdom that matters to you, it shows her your character without you having to brag. It proves that you are a man of substance who has been shaped by life's lessons. To her, a man who values wisdom is a man who can be trusted with her heart. The final sign is often not a question at all, but a statement disguised as a thought. She might say, "It's hard to find people who actually listen these days." This is a massive compliment and a direct test. She is telling you that she feels heard by you, which is one of the most powerful forms of attraction for a woman over 50. She is waiting to see if you will acknowledge that special bond. If you just nod and agree, the moment might pass. But if you look at her and say, "I think it's easy to listen when someone is as interesting as you," you have just stepped through the final door. You have moved from a stranger to a person of interest. These questions are the maps women use to find their way to you. Once you learn to read them, you will never feel invisible again. You will see that the world is not empty. It is full of women waiting for a man who is simply present enough to notice them. One of the final ways she might test the connection is by asking, "Do you believe in second chances?" This is a heavy question that usually comes up when things start to feel real. She is not asking about a movie or a book. She is asking if you are a person who can forgive and start over. Most people over 50 have a history of mistakes or broken hearts. By asking this, she is looking for a man who has a soft heart and a broad perspective. If you say that people never change or that you don't believe in looking back, she might feel that you are too rigid. But if you say that life is all about second chances and that you are living your own right now, it shows her that you have the emotional maturity to handle a real relationship. You may also hear her ask, "What is one thing you are really proud of?" This is her giving you permission to share your wins. She wants to see what you value and where you have put your effort over the years. This is not the time to be overly humble or to brag about money. Talk about a time you helped someone, a challenge you overcame, or a project you finished with your own hands. She is looking for the pride in your voice because she wants to be with a man who respects himself. When a man is proud of his life, he doesn't need to look for validation from everyone else. And that kind of inner strength is a magnet for a woman. Sometimes she will bring up the future in a small way by asking, "Have you ever thought about living somewhere else?" This is her way of checking if you are open to change or if you are completely stuck in your current life. She is wondering if there is room for a new adventure or a new lifestyle. She is not asking you to move tomorrow. She is just checking the boundaries of your world. If you show that you are open to new possibilities, it makes her feel like life with you will be an open book rather than a closed chapter. It signals that you are still a man who is looking at the horizon.